What's up, guys? I'm your host, Nick Beardsley, and I want to welcome you back to the Dear Untitled podcast, episode 46. Supporting artists is, in fact, the name of the game, and the reason why I do this and many others do as well. This can range from outlets like Dear Untitled to super fans and social media groups to Discord servers and even through record labels. It's the passion that unites us all. Well, today I talked to another guest who works for one of the biggest metal labels in the game, Steve Sawyer, who is the director of digital marketing and advertising at Metal Blade Records. I originally met Steve when tuning into a webinar that C Squared Music hosted a while back, and after following him on socials, had the opportunity come up to make this conversation happen. This is a cool and hilarious conversation because I feel as though we discussed a bit of everything music with a dash of cats and laughs in between. I'll stop talking now because there's plenty inside that you really want to get to and pay attention to. Here it is, my conversation with Steve Sawyer of Metal Blade Records on episode 46.
Hey, Kirby. All right.
You didn't
All right.
see anything. That was that look. You saw nothing.
Yeah, she's like, what? I feel like she's half in, half out most of the time,
Yeah.
Just kind of in her own world. You'd be like, hey, Kirby. And she's like, what?
Dude, well, it's really cool. I appreciate you sitting down, taking the time, and also getting to meet because, we've gone back and forth so often on socials. It's like,
Oh,
wow.
yeah. My Twitter account is a whole experience.
Dude, I
I'm
feel
trying
the
to
same.
curate only the stupidest things.
Dude,
Yeah.
I just saw your video of all your shirts. And
Oh, man.
I related so hard. I'm like, man, my whole drawer is just black, dark, gray, whatever shirts, like no color.
The thing is like, I own, I don't know, probably. I think we counted one week and it's close to like 200 something shirts or some
Holy
shit. Yeah, I think it's like well over 200 fucking band shirts. But like,
wow.
I've, over the course of time, like 90% of my wardrobe now is just from shows.
Right.
Uh, and, I whenever I'm at like a concert or a show, it's like, yeah, some of the designs are cool or whatever, but more than half of my motivation for buying a shirt is just like, oh, these guys need to eat food that doesn't come in cans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, let me buy as much fucking bullshit as I can. And then often, my girlfriend can attest to this. I'll fucking overpay, by like 20, $30 or whatever. And then
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh shit, dude, here's your change. I'm like, no. I did that on purpose. Like,
Right.
keep my
Yeah.
money.
You're on the
Yeah,
road and you want more than McDonald's tonight. I get it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not coming at my Gildan shirt tweet from the angle of like, I don't want to support bands. No. I even said, I'll just give you the money. I just can't wear these shirts anymore.
I
Been
fully
like,
agree. I
yeah,
I
man,
don't
it's
know if I
it's
related to anything more. Just accurate.
15 years of wearing these fucking Gildan shirts, and I'm like, I can't do it anymore. We print on stuff that's like flexible and
Right,
breathable,
the
you know?
soft, yeah, the
Yeah.
comfy, just cozy, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know who's our. I'd take my shirt and be like, who's our blank? But
Here, put it up to the camera. Who is it?
yeah, but yeah, I started just like, I think what happened was I bought a few shirts from like Zoomies and a couple things from like Amazon, just like non-band shirts for the first time in years. And then I put them on and I was like, wait a minute, clothes feel good?
You're
No
not wearing a
shit.
piece of cardboard today?
Yeah, that's why I made the joke. I was like, I'm convinced that Gildan shirts are made out of recycled twist ties. Like, I don't know how they managed to fucking pull it off, but yeah, there's something about the feel of their fabric where it's just like, oh, a really weak guy is just giving me a hug all day. It just sucks. So we'll still wear all the shirts I have. I'll probably end up buying more of them because I'm a
Of
dummy.
course.
But
Yeah,
yeah, like between me, you, and the fence post,
yeah.
fuck, dude,
Shirts are
I'm
tough.
like, look, guys, if you need to buy American Apparel shirts and sell them only to me, I will pay the $45 for a band shirt.
I mean,
You
look,
know?
I'll even go in on what Silent Planet's Carhartt. Like, and please, I
Oh
will
yeah,
pay the
sure.
$100 for a T-shirt. You know?
Yeah, one guy was responding to me and he's like, if you can get another shirt that's quality for $2.40 per unit, let me know. And I'm like, sir, I don't I don't know the margins on your specific situation, but like you could probably spring another dollar on there and and find a way to be all right. I
Yeah.
don't know. And if you can't, and the merch cuts and all that are that bad, well, I guess we just got to kick someone's ass then. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oof. I
Yeah.
mean, if that's the razor thin margin, then boy, just I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know, put out a GoFundMe at the merch table instead. I don't know.
It's getting bad. I get like merch cuts, I think are really like introducing this nefarious element to everything where everyone just feels more desperate than they used to. Where you could be, you used to be able to guarantee yourself at least, something walking away.
Yeah.
When you now have like the venue with their hand in your pocket for just selling like a fucking t-shirt and some stickers and, a record or whatever, like
Yeah.
yeah, I think that makes all of these things a little bit more fraught to navigate. And, certainly I would hope the situation isn't that desperate where the extra 50 cents per unit on like a t-shirt is like deciding whether or not you make your rent or don't that month.
Right.
I hope it's not like that, but you can at least see that there's people thinking about things that they maybe didn't used to have to think about so much because of the merch cuts and all that sort of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen artists like smaller people like just sell out of their van after the show. It's like we're not selling inside tonight. We're selling out back. So meet us there.
Yeah, and now there's venues who are like, oh, if we catch you do that, and catch you doing that, you will be less likely to invite you back or whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like if that's where it's starting to come down to, then obviously something's got to give.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I'm going to actually, boy, I'm going to a show on Monday, and I'm really hyped about it. But um, the fact that processing fees were just astronomical, dude. I think the ticket was $30, and I probably ended up paying like 60. It's just, man, I want
Oh,
to
like
support
that was the
people.
per ticket service fee was like the face value of the ticket.
It added up to somewhere like 58 or something. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
It's like
Yeah.
processing and this and that, and I know I'll pay $20 in parking, and it's like, man,
Yep.
this is gonna be $100 night. And then I was looking at another show later in June, and like, granted, I know VIPs cost more. That's just the nature of them, but it's like, holy shit, that's $100 for the ticket and VIP plus the processing plus the party. That's going to be a $200 night plus if I buy merch, which I know I'm going to. So it's like that's like my month, like that's my activity for the month.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I mean, I saw my coworker Ryan he tweeted he was like $50 for a long sleeve at the Meshuggah show. He's like, man, I love supporting bands, but this is fucking rough.
Yeah.
And like, that's us at the shows. You know what I mean? Like, that's a tour we are like helping to, put together. It's like
Yeah.
we don't, we're not getting any breaks out there either, right? So we're paying the same price as everybody else. And yeah, dude, I had like the argument with myself yesterday, like all day, because I wanted to go see Glass Shot here at the
Oh shit.
Franklin
Yeah.
with Poison Well, and yeah, it was this thing where I think the tickets were $50 a piece.
Hmm.
Then you add in service fees, and then, like you said, for us, we're, like in the city, right, in
Oh
Philly.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to drive in like downtown Philly. So I take a Lyft anytime we're leaving our neighborhood. So you got it.
Easiest city to do that with. I got so spoiled being up there. Man, it was just like
Yeah, it's
hop in the lift and you're at the Fillmore in like
yeah,
15 minutes, and it's like, oh,
totally.
I don't have to deal with parking. I don't have to pay the $50 to park in this private lot.
Yep, bingo.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like you said, then you're getting inside. I like to have a few vodka drinks, right? So
Exactly.
my bar tab is usually at least $100,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then, merch, all this shit. Maybe someone gets hungry. Venue food is not cheap. Like,
No, dude.
yeah. So I look at concerts now, and the abstract is like, oh, that's $300. That's $400.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're gonna go see like a Glassjaw or a Poison the Well like level band, the merch is more.
Yeah.
You're not. Then at that point, I'm like, oh fuck! I wish I was still at the fucking death metal show where it's $35 a t-shirt. Like
Yeah.
it's not. It's fucking $60 for a t-shirt and 80 for a hoodie, and like because they're bigger bands like all
Oh
the.
yeah.
So yeah, all of that shit, man. It's a lot.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
saw I guess it was the co-headliner of the Bush Breaking Ben last year. And it's like
Mm.
you go out to the merch, everything's spread out. Granted, it's in an arena, so it's it's going to be upcharged and all that, but it's like 100 something for a hoodie. It's like, man, I want, but man, it's that's a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, I'm just like, I'll just go back on the internet and be stupid and buy Supreme stuff. Yeah, it's like maximum dumb.
Right.
There was the Aphex Twins Supreme drop,
Yeah.
uh, and we were in. It happened at the exact same time that this graphics card launched, right? So we were in line at Micro Center, and I was looking at my phone, and I was like turning to my girlfriend like, I want this Aphex Twin like all over print hoodie. She's like, how much is it? I was like, it's $1,300.
Well, let's see. Is it rent or no food this month, or what are we doing?
The Aphex Twin Supreme hoodie. Yeah. So I everything in perspective. I try to, when I tell like death metal people about like Supreme stuff, they're like, "What the fuck, dude?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's a whole different universe. Like, hype beast shit is dumb. It's a culture that is built on dumb,
Yeah.
and I like it.
Of course. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh
Oh
man.
man.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you wanted to talk to me about t-shirts and unit prices and things like that for most of the podcast, but
I feel like, like it's a genuine topic that I actually don't get into too often. Like I obviously talk about supporting, artists when they're on the road and buying from them because obviously that pays the meals and the bills at the end of the month. But I don't think I really ever breached the topic. So it worked out. Yeah.
sure, yeah, it was on my heart the other day, right? I
You mean your
All that
wallet?
happened was I went to go take off like one of my hoodies, and my entire like shirt went with it because it was a Gildan. So I was just standing there like shirtless, hoodieless, and I was like, I can't wear these shirts anymore. I'm gonna kill myself. Which is like a complete and total fucking lie because like I said, I'll be at a show and I'll just be like, fine, I'll buy another one of these shirts.
Yeah, I don't. There was a show in the past couple of years. I'm not even gonna name a name in case people are listening, but there was. I got a shirt and it was a very very stiff. Just I've worn it once and I was like, nah, it's just gonna look pretty in the closet, man.
Dude, this is nothing. This is to say nothing then too of when I will buy a shirt and then I'll get it home and the print is like this.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh fuck, all right. I got one of the like rush job fucking pure prints.
We were on the road, we needed it, yeah.
Yeah, and they just hit up the fulfillment company and they were like, oh fuck, we gotta get these out of here.
Send it to Boise, we'll be there in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no shit, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. So I can always tell, yeah, when something comes like, and it's like I know who does the shirts, right? I know who does all that stuff because we use them for a lot of stuff.
Of course. Of
Um,
course.
yeah, and so I almost always know the circumstance under which that happens, right? I'm like, oh, dude, this order came in on like a Thursday. They were like, we need to have this to the band by like next fucking Tuesday, and so they were like, fuck, dude, we're gonna
That,
run like 500 shirts in 2 hours or some shit. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah. You already know
Yeah,
that guy working the weekend doesn't want to be there. So good luck with your shirt.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an Obscura shirt upstairs that's just I just call it the Friday like margarita shirt because you can tell someone was operating the screen press and they were just like, I don't give a fuck about this shirt, dog. Slammed one down and called it a day. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll turn it into a big back patch someday or
I don't
something.
know
I
if
don't know.
I've gotten the shirts that it's like one wash, you barely see the print anymore, and it's oh man, that's disappointing when it's like one of those badass, just like cool, you came up with this, you put a lot of thought in, and now it's man, guess
It's almost always when they use like too many colors.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, if you get like a design that has like fucking hella colors and it's like a really heavy like screen print that they have to do for it,
Yeah,
those usually like chip away pretty fast.
yeah. Meanwhile,
But yeah,
this freaking shirt, I swear to God, I've had it since high school, and it's just like it Coles, man. It's, I remember
oh, I
getting
thought it was
this.
like
You rock
Plank
these.
from Ed, Ed, and Eddie or something.
Yeah, so it's a ruler and a rock. And it's
Oh, okay. All right.
you
Yeah,
rock
very
your
clever there.
all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of those cheap things, but it's been comfortable. It's lasted, God, 15 years.
You know that classic game rock paper ruler?
Yes,
You know? Yeah,
exactly.
sure.
Yeah,
Are those all your records on the wall behind you?
yeah, yeah. I got
Okay.
well, not all of them. I definitely have plenty more.
It's the current highlighted ones then I guess, right?
Indeed, yeah. Here, let's see if my camera
What you got
moves.
there? Let's
So I got
you don't
Boxcar
you don't have,
Racer.
yeah, I was like we don't have to do all of them, but yeah, give us the highlights, Nick.
Well,
We got to know what's the goodies up
wrist.
there.
If I can wrist meet Razor.
Okay.
Boston.
Sure. Yeah, all right.
Architects, Owl City, Wonder Years, shout out Philly, Dream Shade, Under Oath. I think directly
Oh,
behind.
yeah, that's is that disambiguation?
It's their reissue, yeah,
Yeah,
their like
okay.
anniversary. Um, Transit, Devil Wears Prada Space, Devil Wears Prada again. From first to last, Heroine. Band we probably shouldn't name. Brand new.
Sure.
Yeah. The Chariot down here next to other vinyls that I'm working on. Drugs,
Okay. All right.
and then All Get Out. That's who that is.
You got some good ones up there.
Oh, and
All
then
right.
another shout out to Philly over here. Youth by I can't do it in the camera. Youth by Citizen. So
Cool.
yeah, man. First Unitarian is my shit when I'm in Philly.
Oh yeah, it's a cool place. We last time we were there was for 200 stab wounds.
Ooh.
Um but like everybody always sees shows in the basement, right? I,
Oh right, yeah.
I went there one night for a Perturbator show and they had him in the church. And it was
Huh.
the coolest fucking experience. Just having him like play like with the pews and everything. Like it was super sick.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember who I saw in the pews, but it definitely was not that variety of a show. Um, but I did see Billy Joe Armstrong with his tour, The Long Shot.
Okay.
I saw them in the basement, and
Huh.
there was this band from New York that opened for them. I legitimately think they were called like the Trash Bags or something. It was ridiculous, but it was a great show. It was like 98 degrees, humid, they recorded a show or a video and posted it to Instagram after, and it sticks in my head of them shop vacuuming the floor of sweat, just like pools of just nasty. And there was a show we went to, another one, I think it was Polar Bear Club. My wife tries to go to the bathroom down that hallway, and you could just see the liquid on the floor, like the condensation. It's just like so dank, but I don't know. Best memories.
Yeah, the basement is an experience. I definitely prefer being upstairs in the church.
I don't blame you at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I'm
like me being upstairs in the Fillmore. It's like, I'll take the table, please. Thanks.
yeah, I'm so man. I'm just like, oh please, guys.
So talking about the tickets, anyways, we're already paying the premium to sit down because we're old. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, even the TLA, man. Yeah.
Oh, it's a cool place. Yeah.
So, I mean, after all that, you work for Metal Blade.
This is true.
Yeah.
Many people have said this.
I don't know if my listeners know this though. I mean, that's part of why we're talking. But
well, this will be the moment that they're like, "What? Wow, that's cool." I guess.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't have an incredibly massive audience, right? So, tell us about Metal Blade a little bit, if they don't know.
Sure. It's kind of it's weird because it's I don't want to use the word like intimidating, but it's almost like it's like an iceberg where it's like, okay, well, where do we even start, right? There's so much. And this was the thing for me, it was like I have loved heavy music like my entire life, and my journey into heavier and heavier music as I like got older always included Metal Blade, and I didn't really know that or understand that until I started to become way more aware of different record labels and the kind of music that they put out. And I guess like when you're in death metal and in this subculture and in this community for a long enough time, you get to know certain labels because they're putting out like more of a certain kind of a genre that you like, or like Artisan Era. I'm sure there's a handful of people out there that may know this, but there's a label called the Artisan Era, and basically all they do is tech death. It's all just technical death metal. Mm-hmm. I own every single record that label has ever released. Like every single one, every catalog number. If there's a vinyl record that label has put out, I own it. And not like every variant, but just like every release. I own a copy of every.
Yeah. I mean, we could put our future kids through college with what we own, dude. It's nobody's gonna buy it off of us for that.
Well,
price,
I've already put someone's kids through college now, just through all the shit I've purchased for sure. So, yeah, but that's the thing of like I know Artisan Era because they put out like my favorite genre of death metal, right? Metal Blade is so like dense in terms of the history of the label. Like you can start with the big obvious things, like Metal Blade put out Metallica's first thing ever, right?
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, the Metal Blade is how Metallica came to this world. Same with Slayer. They put out Slayer's first 4 records, right? Know that. So yeah, huge contributions to like metal history, and then you get into acts like King Diamond, right? Yeah. Merciful Fate. And yeah, it's like these were all things that for me are on some level like almost inaccessible because like, dude, I was just a little dude, like a little dude, like when all that was happening,
Yeah.
And then you get into like, yeah, sure. just a couple of years ago. This was all stuff that was happening in like the 80s, like, the mid 80s. Right. And Brian was already doing it, right? Then you get into the early 90s and the, Florida death metal and all that shit. I mean, it's like Cannibal, right?
Yeah.
It's Cannibal all day that that really like, walked so everybody else could run, then and
Absolutely.
now look at them. They're fucking playing arena tours, with
Exactly.
Meshuggah. Yeah. So yeah, in terms of like, hey, so what's Metal Blade all about? I'm like, well, have I got 10 hours of your life to waste?
You're the lore video that I never knew I needed. Love it.
Brian is the lore video. Dude, you hang out with Brian for like even just a couple of hours and you'll realize like, oh, this guy's a living legend. Like,
Yeah.
uh, I'm sure if he heard me say that, he'd probably be embarrassed.
I'll
But
I'll cut that. Don't worry.
okay, cool. That's the other thing is like, as as much as I say that and I believe that to be true, very humble dude, and
Yeah.
doesn't have like a huge ego about himself or about any of this. And I think that that's really helped, you know, Metal Blade, like as a company and our internal culture is like, I can just tell you, none of what we do is bullshit because none of the people here are bullshitters,
Right.
and that's like the the biggest thing, like, or the greatest compliment I could give, to Brian is like, oh, dude, that is straight shooter all day, one of the chillest dudes you could ever meet, and he's a guy who's still to this day like super passionate about it and in it, man. I was wearing a Parallax Occlusion shirt in front of him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, those are the guys who just put out that one record and then broke up." I was like, Slagle is listening to Parallax Occlusion? That's fucking sick, dude. Like, I have friends who are like in it to win it in death metal and they don't even know who the fuck that band is. And Slagle's like, oh yeah, I don't know about that shit. That's a good record. Yeah,
I
it's
listened to that like 2 days ago. I just
yeah, man. He was at a
routinely go
Peeling
through.
Flesh show.
Yeah.
So like, when
Man.
people are like, oh, is Slagle really out there? I'm like, he was at a Peeling Flesh show.
Right.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's still with it, man.
That
Like
is
for real.
incredible. I'm always astounded by the people whose brains are just like discographies of just archives and archives of just that many
Yeah.
years. Like I obviously, like, in my own head, I feel like, wow, I know a lot of bands, but then I talk to like even people like you or hear about others like that, and it's like, holy shit. Granted, Brian definitely has a couple years on me, but even still, it's like, how do you keep track of all that?
You gotta check out. I would say you could see the words trying to chew their way out of my throat right now. But I was like, oh, this is such a perfect segue. He
Love it.
has a podcast right now called the 100 Best Songs or 100 Best Songs in Heavy Music, something like that.
Okay.
But it's really good. I finally got a chance to listen to a couple of episodes of it. And yeah, Brian, you get the sense that Brian not only knows a ton about, our world and our music, but just knows a ton about music,
Music.
like period.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that really makes me appreciate the depth of his knowledge is it's like,
Right.
yeah, he strikes me as a person who is just as obsessed, with music as like everybody else in the office, right? We're all like giant nerds or encyclopedias of something or some type of. For me, I'm the tech death guy, right? Like
Yeah.
that's all I know about. But Brian, yeah, he, like I said, this is a guy who just knows music, like in a way where he'll be telling me about things, and I'm like, what? Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. The other day I ran into a situation you probably do frequently of like talking about a band or like gushing like, oh, I heard so and so drop this, and or someone says that to you and like, I loved this album. You're like, oh yeah, that I know that guy. That's a chill dude. Or like,
Yeah.
a member of a band, and they're like, what? And it's just, it's conversations like these where I've had the privilege to meet people, but like, in an everyday job, Brian's probably one of those like, oh yeah, I know those 20 bands you just rattled off. Like
Oh
personally,
yeah.
had dinner, that sort of thing.
The fact that James Hetfield is in his phone, most likely.
Holy, yeah, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, it's like, and that's just because,
Wow.
yeah, they're homies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, they're friends. Uh, he
I
does a
could
bunch of stuff
absolutely
for
see that.
NHL. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, so like he's a huge hockey dude. So Yeah, he's been on like NHL broadcasts like of a lot of times, like not an insignificant amount of times. Like I said, the dude is just so casually like super cool, and
I
you're like,
love that.
the fuck? What the fuck, Brian? You did this, did that? He's like, ah, yeah, it's no big deal, whatever.
See, look at us.
And I think like that humility is what. Thanks, Kirby, for making all the noise ever in the background as you try to shred a bunch of paper. Hold on, we're gonna have a Kirby cameo real fast. This is Kirby. She doesn't like being held, so she's gonna bail.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's the one
Hi,
who's
Kirby.
yeah. Okay, bye, Kirby. Yeah, I think it's this thing where it's not often you get to meet someone who's casually, like you said, accomplished and achieved so much, but then also simultaneously is like very humble and very cool.
Yeah.
Um, because I'm no stranger to this. Even in our little bubble, like you meet people who have some magnificent egos, and
Sure
you're
do.
like, dude, you're the singer in a death metal band. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, so I ain't gonna name any names, but there's more than two of them, right? That have had
Bro,
that
you
experience.
only have an EP out. What are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
that's it.
well, that's almost always like a local hero syndrome too. You
Oh,
get like
absolutely.
the local band,
Yeah. Yeah.
big guy, big
Hmm.
guy stomping.
Yeah. Yeah. The you
Big
definitely.
fish, small pond thing, or yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's plenty of bands that ring true from your area there, and it's still homies.
I'm almost certain I know of one or two of them that you might be referring to.
Probably yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to. I mean, in your neck of the woods, obviously. I used to my barber. Would he know that he knew the guy who ran the music venue in Reading? Um,
Okay.
but he was really into the hardcore straight edge realm, and
Hmm.
so I tried to talk music with him. It was one of the we fucking hate metalcore, dude. Like they
Huh.
just it was a weird dynamic, but I learned a lot.
That's weird though. That's like isn't Pennsylvania's like the metalcore spot to a lot of people.
See, but I think it was more of a Philly is the hardcore. That was such a unique
So dumb.
character. Really, I mean, at least I could talk music, but I did not really say like, "Oh yeah, Asking
I,
Alexandria
I
was cool."
those people fascinate me. The people who are like, no, 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 music needs to have a geographical limitation.
Yes.
Our
Yeah.
local culture is defined by this one genre only.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
like, well, I'm pretty sure there's probably a guy in his basement in your city making like a fucking cloud rap album or something,
Of
like
course.
who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That sort of like thing. I think a lot of that too comes from if you are a person who's really unsure of who you are at a lot of other aspects in your life, and then you come to really define yourself by like this identity within a local scene, and all of a sudden those people make you feel like validated and important,
Yeah.
and all those things are cool feelings, but you can then like run the fuck away with that in a really weird way where you're like, hmm,
Hmm.
this is all that matters now in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It gets interesting, but he knew, and I'm forgetting the band's name, but um, one of my high school classmates, his older brother, is in hardcore band over in Erie, PA, and
Mm.
the guy knew him. He's like, "Oh, dude, yeah, Kyle. He stayed here like the other weekend when they were down playing a show." I was like, "That's kind of badass." Like my barber in Manayunk knows someone from my hometown, and just
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Yeah.
yeah. It just I mean the whole you've experienced it, I'm sure, right? In this
Oh
industry
yeah.
of like the world is just so small.
Yeah,
It
it's a
just
lot smaller than you think.
yeah.
And then I think too with like um with me personally, that certainly like helped. Like I was, um buddies with people at the label before I got like hired.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, like, you know, a year or two before like I got hired at Metal Blade, bands would come through and they would be like staying in my fucking house, shit like that. So I mean, like I've always just
Yeah.
kind of been a dude who was like really invested in like the death metal community and the scene. And it didn't hurt that like, for the longest time I was working in the games industry. And so I would hook up bands with like free games and like be like come to E3 dude,
Right.
like all this sort of yeah. So you make friends over the years if
Yeah.
you got things to barter with or whatever.
Yeah. Not
And
Gildan shirts.
now yeah. Like tons of Gildan shirts. I definitely remember an E3 where someone brought me an aborted shirt to E3, so that was pretty cool.
I love that.
I think it was one of our security people or something. He saw me wearing a Rings of Saturn shirt and was
Hell
like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, dude, I love those guys." Some shit like that. So yeah, it's always been this thing where I've been like really closely tied to the death metal community in one way or another. But then yeah, like being on the other side of it now is like kind of a fucking head trip sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, like Job for a Cowboy
Oh yeah.
is like one of my favorite bands like of all
Hell yeah.
time. And then I worked the fucking release of Moon Healer and I was like, wait, what? Like
You have to pace
Cattle
yourself.
Decap. Yeah, dude. So when I first got hired at the label, the first project I got assigned was Terrasite.
Man.
So yeah, just got thrown right into the deep end immediately. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're working the launch of the new Cattle Decapitation album. That's your first project."
Man.
Yeah.
That is I mean, well duh. I mean it's Metal Blade. So of course, but like, you signed up to do things like this, but to get hey, here's your job.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. And you know what? To circle it all back to Metallica, we would have had the number one heavy album of the year if Metallica hadn't put out a fucking record. I got number two. I got the number two heavy record of the year that year.
Do you call that karma or just like full circle or I I don't
Hey, you know what? I will come in second place in Metallica all fucking day, man.
that's
Like,
valid.
yeah, that's like, if anything, I then say that as like a fucking thing. Dude, I came in second place in fucking Metallica, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
And we put
yeah, like,
Metallica on the map.
I'm taking credit for it. Like I was the one who fucking wrote and recorded Terrasite. I was like, no, I
Of
just
course.
yeah, I just helped to get the goddamn thing sold. But all credit to the band
That
and
is
the
important though.
multiple people who worked on it and
Yeah.
everything. But yeah, we came in number two, baby.
That is wicked impressive. And really exciting. But again, that those types of awards don't come without like that marketing piece though. Like look, a band it's like if a tree falls in the forest, if no one's around, does anyone
Yeah,
hear
I
it?
guess I
Like
should tell people what I do. Yeah, so I
sure,
am
yeah.
the
Yeah.
yeah. I'm the director of marketing and digital advertising at Metal Blade.
The
Yeah,
director. Oh.
man.
Well,
It's what my girlfriend is the one who has to remind me all the time. She's like, "You have like an executive role, like at a record label." I'm like, I do stuff. I don't know. I'm
I,
the, I'm
I,
the janitor over there.
I just
Yeah.
make fun of people and music on Twitter. It's fine.
I just take pictures of the fridge every time I'm at the office. That's that's my job is to update people on the Metal Blade refrigerator.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah.
it's funny. So the way I even came across you in the first place was what was it? C Squared Music had you
Yeah,
on
Curtis.
Curtis, yeah. And I hopped into that webinar that you put on about marketing, and because if I'm recalling the time frame, I was still working with some artists myself as like PR, and it's like want to kind of figure out the scene, figure out what to do, because it's a lot of it with a smaller band is like just hey, throw it at a wall, see what sticks, which is fun.
Yeah.
But there is
Totally.
a strategy, obviously, and that was really cool, and I've kept some strats in the back of my head that you rambled about, and I don't know.
Yeah,
It was,
cool.
yeah, it's
Well, I'm glad some of that was useful. Yeah, it's funny too because like I feel like when I when I did that seminar, so much of that was just like, I guess, things that are general, like marketing and advertising things that I've learned over the years across both my disciplines, like in games and music.
Yes.
I feel like if I were to do that again now, number one, I don't think Metal Blade would let me again. But
Probably not.
two, probably not. But number two, I think the breadth of knowledge now would be way more specific, and I have a lot more expertise as it pertains to the music industry in particular. But so much of that has been, yeah, like just it's all a learning curve, and even that, like, it's always a moving target. Like the things that so much of the stuff that worked when I started just a couple of years ago, like just straight up don't work now. You
Correct.
know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And with the proliferation of like machine learning and AI and all these different things,
Yeah.
all of that stuff, in the abstract, it all sounds crazy and sounds ephemeral, but I'm now starting to see that like have an impact on some of the things that we're doing. So you try to like be as cutting edge with all this shit as possible, but it's always changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Curtis is my boy. I talk to Curtis quite a bit.
Yeah.
Always be bugging him on Facebook Messenger. Yeah.
Love that. Love that. I feel like that's
I
all
told
I
him they
use
needed to
Facebook
do
for.
a Meshuggah energy drink next after the cheeseburger.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know if people know that they were pretty instrumental in getting that Meshuggah like food menu thing put together.
Curtis was?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. C squared. I'm
I
pretty
didn't
sure.
realize that. That's
Yeah,
really
I don't
cool.
know if I don't know if I'm like gonna get in trouble. Like if that's
Oh,
like
and we'll see
and
who
a
listens.
friend EA. I'm pretty sure he was like bragging about it like on his Facebook, so I think it's cool.
That's cool.
Um, but yeah, I was like, he messaged me about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, Curtis. This would be way cooler to me if it were like a Monster Energy flavor or something.
Yeah.
Like Meshuggah Monster or
Of
some
course.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
why
yeah.
not?
Yeah, I'm desperately hooked on caffeine. So
Absolutely fair. Yeah.
yeah, that's how I survive.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you got to be awake at all hours of the night to hear someone, go take a shit on whatever music you just put out.
Oh God, no, I don't. That's our social media guy's job. I'm just like, you get to deal
Valid.
with everybody being mean.
Valid. Yeah.
I just play video games, and I have like a one directional like relationship with my Twitter account where I just fire stuff out and then I put my phone down and go do something else.
I love that aspect. I think that's why I stick on the damn platform, because it's just like, I can just put something into the void and people care or don't. It just doesn't matter. You put whatever, you can put a cat, you can put politics, you can put music, and nobody really cares unless you're like, I don't know, probably Katy Perry or something.
I feel like people really cared very deeply for a while about a lot of the things that I said until they figured out that like 99% of the time I am like just screwing with everybody. But I feel like that's the thing too. I have to kind of like not watch it, but I have to remember that sometimes I have like a very dry sense of humor. And so I will say things that to me I know are like absurd, and I'm like, oh, there's no way like somebody could be like taking this seriously.
Yeah.
And then I will meet someone in public, or like at a show, and they'll be like, "Hey, what did you mean when you said this?" I was like, "Oh, I was just fucking around, dude. I'm stupid. I'm sorry." So yeah, that's part of it. But yeah, if anyone out there in internet land is following me on social media, I'm sorry.
I don't even think it needs an apology, man. You play off. I mean, in that scenario, I guess you're playing off just interpretation of text. There's no. I don't know. You can't really extrapolate something other than like, well, is it facts, or does he have a sarcastic tone to this? I can't really tell, but that's the best part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I had somebody DM me because I put out a tweet where I was like, everybody's an influencer now, and all they're influencing me to do is to kill myself. And it was someone that like we work with, and they were like, "Hey, did I do something? Like, did I make?"
Holy shit! No way. They
And
thought you. Oh my god.
yeah, so I had to be like, "No, no, I'm just being stupid." I was like, "I'm not." I was like, and also, don't worry, I'm not actually gonna kill myself. And that's like I said, I have these moments where I'm like, I think that there's no way you could read that and not know that I'm fucking joking
Of
around,
course, right?
but then I have to remember, I'm like, oh shit, like we work with a lot of people, and
Yeah, there's a
I don't
lot of
know,
mental
so many
health,
people.
which is
Yeah,
important.
so
Yeah.
many people feel singled out by things, right? Someone could read that and be like, "Oh fuck, I fucking made him Superman." I'm like, "No, dude, I'm fine. I'm
Dude,
just."
dude's gonna go jump off that Jersey Bridge, man.
And then I felt bad, you know. I was like, "Ah, fuck. Should I delete it?" I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna do that." But
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should watch like the Gildan thing. Like someone responded and was like, "Oh, but our unit costs and this and that." I'm like, you shouldn't be responding to me in earnest about this. You should have read the part where I was like, these shirts are made out of recycled twist ties, and been like, oh, this guy's just being stupid.
Right. Right.
Yeah, he's just mad about a shirt today or whatever.
You're right. Right. It's the whole I found, and I mean this is every conversation. It's like it's whatever their beliefs and their values and their previous life history lead up to. Like maybe they thought you were serious about the twist ties because they're ecologically very environmentally conscious and they're like, hell yeah, it's made out of twist ties, that's why I use it. But like the logical sense of that concept is a challenge.
I just feel like there's a lot of people. I mean, I experienced this when I was in line for my graphics card. Um, there was a guy who was basically asking if me and my girlfriend could help him buy an extra card for his girlfriend. And like, I don't know, whatever. But I made the joke to him. I was like, you're not gonna do like something weird like this, right? Like start a new like cell of Al Qaeda or like, or do like some terrorism with it or something. He's like, this kid behind him was like, you need to take it down like a couple
Oh
of
my
notches.
god.
And I was just like, well, I'm not gonna do that. Like, who cares? I was just making a joke. Like, I don't know.
Come on,
I'm
man.
not serious. Like, oh, you're gonna do a terrorism with a graphics card. Like, how could you hear that sentence and not, you know, like deduce that I'm 100% unserious?
I think the
Even
other piece of
me,
that
like,
is that, bro, you're in line for a graphics card. Aren't you like chronically online? Like, shouldn't you understand that this is just a joke?
I think that's. Listen, sir, as someone who enjoys Sonic the Hedgehog a lot, I'm just here to express that there's certain people in certain communities who take things very literally.
That's true.
I, at times, am one of them because I am afflicted, right?
Yeah.
But like, I have to be aware that there are some people who are like
Yeah.
maybe deeper on like certain parts of the spectrum than I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So like I especially online, like whenever people do that, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna say that you and I have the same thing in common, but I'm gonna guess that we do. Yeah. I'm like, I could say that about myself because I know it, but
speaking
like
of
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
speaking of guest features,
No,
this is Luna.
Luna. I like the little splotch.
Yeah.
You know, the little on her
She
mouth.
found us. She just hopped up on my lap here, so I guess that's what. No, don't rub against the mic. Okay. Yeah, she found us. Came to us
No,
and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna sit on your car until you adopt me." So
that's how we found Kirby. She was in the backyard of a house we looked at.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So cat distribution system.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
And now I can't imagine my life without her.
I know, I know.
Uh,
Because we have Lily, who we've had for God, it's probably been 10 years. Adopted her on Second Street, Second and Arch at the Paws.
hmm.
Yeah, found her in the window. One of those
Hmm.
walk by like, oh, let's go look for a cat. There she is.
Yeah. It's fun. My brain really latched onto something you said too. I wanted to come back to
Yeah.
about the people saying mean things about music on the internet. When I first started, I think I cared about that shit a lot. Um, because like I was really invested in the online metal community
Yeah.
in like different spaces. You know, there's the very known and sometimes infamous metal Twitter, right? Or there was. There's been a big exodus of those people for greener pastures on blue sky.
Right.
Um, but like, I won't get into which band was affected, but we had like a situation like about a year after I started with one of our bands, maybe less than that. And I tried to like reach out to some of the people who were upset and, establish some kind of a dialogue or at least in some way try to like get them to articulate what they wanted us as a label to do
Mm-hmm.
about like the thing that they perceived as like this, big giant like paramount issue. Um and it was really tough to get them to kind of like nail it down to something specific and actionable that we would have been able to do,
Mm.
right? And really like what a bunch of them were saying, oh, you should just drop this band. And I'm like, well, our lawyer would probably have multiple things to say about that,
Yeah.
you know? And so like not even getting there, but like before that, it's like what other recourse is it that you
Yeah.
would want us
Because
to take? Like
it's
right,
the internet. Like, what can you do in many circumstances?
right. And like I think that experience alone really like uh discouraged me from wanting to participate with a lot of those like online communities in a sincere way like ever again.
Hmm.
And it was because like to me it revealed that there's always going to be like a subset of people who are upset. They've got it out for, a band or a set of ideas or a set of identities. And that's on like every side of the coin, dude. Like
Yes. Yeah.
I've seen people who get upset that like I exist in metal, right? Because,
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
look a little bit different, right? So like
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was like I couldn't really get anybody to articulate what they wanted us to do about it, and in trying to have that like dialogue, um it felt like really confrontational and shitty in a way that I don't think was fair to us and fair to like the like dozens of people that work at the label. I saw people like saying, oh well, this label is nothing but a bunch of bigots, or there's this and that, and like things that really sucked. And it was like, like I said, you try to then communicate with them and go, well, what is it that you want us to do here? And
Mm-hmm.
most of the things that they tried to articulate were things that, I was like, there's legal processes to some of the things you're suggesting. And like, also, I don't know that any of the things that you're like expressing like a grievance about, like reach the threshold where, anybody could reasonably say, like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, this required us to like
You're gonna
get
you're gonna pay a lot of money to get nothing other than maybe a moral victory, even in the end.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, since then, um, I think you just sort of, that was a big learning lesson for me. I've immunized myself from so much of that stuff.
Yeah.
When people have things to say about our releases, I'm like, hey, that's cool. I can just go and look at some figures and see when things are actually affecting things and when they aren't.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's a cynical way to think about shit, but you get to the point where you really just have to reduce it to like background noise and
Yeah.
just focus on your job. Yeah.
That's really intriguing for me because I don't know if I've ever heard someone articulate that. and it rings true in my head of, well, sure, you can hate it, but my numbers of people who love it tell me otherwise. You're like, you just might be really, really vocal about you don't
I'm
like this
very,
thing, but
dude, I'm so cautious about that though. I think there's a fine line with that. You to an extent, if you see that something is working and there is a vocal minority about, some specific aspect of something that you're doing, then yeah, you can probably like safely reduce that to background noise.
yeah,
But I do feel like then there's the other side of that where there are some people who are like, haters are just future appreciators, bro. The haters just make me more famous, bro. And it's like,
right,
no, 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 no. You're going on TikTok throwing fucking soft drinks at people. Like
yeah,
that's right. So I do feel like there you can get to a point where not all attention is good attention. Like
that's true.
who's that streamer right now who's like literally in prison in the Philippines? Uh there's some dude, he's like in jail, and like there were people like in his comments and online being like, yo, bro, I think you're fucking up. And he was like, the haters are just making me more famous,
Oh
bro.
man,
Well, now
that's
he's in prison. So
yeah,
so I do want to say that there's definitely a fine line where it's like
yeah,
if it's a preponderance of people that are saying you're a piece of shit, maybe there's something to it.
right,
But yeah, like you're mentioning, if you're a band and, you know, the most fascinating one to me lately has been Escuela Grind. Nobody on Twitter likes this band right now,
yeah,
right? Yeah, everyone on Twitter is really upset with them. Uh, from what I'm to hear about their shows, like I have a friend who just did like a tour with them. He was like, it was fine.
yeah, of course,
He's like, yeah, the shows were good. People were like stoked. They were selling merch, and I was just like, that's so fascinating to me.
it is,
You know,
yeah,
yeah, that you go into one portion of heavy music, social media, and your perception of it would be like, oh, this is the fucking most hated band of all time, dog. Like,
right, yeah.
then if you just go to a show,
Well, I mean, it's I don't even. I want to like kind of like say Metallica, but really I'm gonna. It's like saying his name three times in a row. Ronnie Radke. I mean, sure, he's a polarizing figure to begin with, and you think everyone hates him, and then you're like, wait, he's selling out arenas, And there's dynamics at different levels for situations such as that, and how again, you can have a terrible, terrible review from what feels like the majority of the internet, but really that's just the forum and the algorithm that you're currently in. It's not the 90% majority like this band sucks because other figures. I don't
yeah,
know. It's a really strange balance, I think.
I think the other thing too is it's like, depending on the kind of music that you make, you can really like get to a place where you're then talking about like aggregation and percentages to use some marketing words here.
Yeah,
Um, where it's like, okay, if on average you have like 8 million people a month listening to you, and then there's, let's say 10% of that number of people are being like assholes to you on the internet, that's not an insignificant number then at that point, right?
that's very true.
Because you're doing fucking numbers.
You're
You will
good.
see this a lot more in the rap and hip hop community,
That's true.
bro. There's a whole subreddit that's just about how much of like a bitch ass nigga Kodak Black is. And it is like it's my favorite thing ever where I'm like, there is a whole subreddit of just like
Hating.
niggas hating on Kodak Black. Yeah, like that's their whole thing. Like they're on there every day, like, yo, fuck this nigga. And like, I just don't know why. I don't know the
Absolutely.
lore on it. I don't know the background, but it's the funniest shit to me, dog. Like,
That
I'm like, I don't think I've ever listened to like more than like maybe two or three Kodak Black songs in my entire life. But I do know that there is a whole community of just of just dudes that are just hating on him like every day, like fiercely hating on him.
And I am
And that
invested. Yeah.
yeah, dude, it's the funniest shit to me. And so like when I look at some of the death metal like aspects of that, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, y'all don't even understand. I'm like, go into other communities. I'm like, they're like doing this full time, bro. Like, yeah.
So true.
Could you imagine if there was just like a subreddit that's just like, you know, fuck Cannibal Corpse or fuck 6 Feet Under or like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like maybe some angry dude somewhere, but there's definitely not like, and I would know about it, right? There's not like a whole subreddit that's just like Chris Barnes sucks r slash, you know, like whatever. Because I would be on it. I'd be in there every single day.
I'd be participating, man. Why not?
No. I'm just fascinated by shit like that. Like I said, I have nothing against Kodak Black like at all. I've like I said, maybe listened to 3 of his songs ever, but like I am invested in the drama, bro. I'm like, oh, I wanna watch I wanna know what the hell's going on here. This is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's such a great perspective, though. I don't know. The internet's such a funny place. Such a funny place, but you know.
Yeah, and like I said, I think about the Kodak Black thing of like, you know, to death metal people, they probably don't even know who that is, right?
Correct. Oh, absolutely.
But then like on top of that, they don't even understand like he's huge.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like a mega star, you know? And I'm like, no. This dude is doing like millions and millions and millions of streams a month. Like,
right.
And to you, he's just like a completely like unknown quantity. And I'm like, no, he's like well known enough that he has like a whole like haters club. Yeah, like
it's not a fan base, it's a hate base.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, so when they look at, you know, things like Ronnie Radke, they're like, but all these people hate him. How's he still doing shit? And I'm like, bro, there's every genre everywhere has these people.
Yep.
And this is the other thing with Ronnie, like there's some validity to a lot of the criticism, and you know, he does be acting like a douche online.
Absolutely, yeah, undoubtedly, which is why I said polarizing, because there's a lot of things to unpack.
But then like at the same time, you know, I can't pretend like I did not enjoy a lot of gangster rap growing up, and so many of those dudes were just honest to God criminals, like yeah, robbing, stealing, and killing. And so
yeah,
you know, yeah, I'd be a hypocrite to be like I have not enjoyed music from like convicted felons.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope they make $1 million.
Of course.
I guess. It's like an empty platitude I give people when I'm sick of their shit. I'm like, I hope you make $1 million, bro.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
You keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Hating Kodak Black, sure. I hope you make $1 million.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm invested in that shit, bro.
Yeah,
I'm about that Kodak Black. Yeah. They're posting a video the other day where they were like, look at this stupid nigga doing drugs. And he was just smoking a blunt. And I was like, what? Like,
these kids out here doing the weed.
I was like, what? I was like, when did y'all turn into Bill Cosby, like, on this subreddit? What are you talking about? It's like, he's just fucking smoking a bleezy. Like, I don't understand.
Man, just trying to have a good time, bro.
Yeah, they're like, any little perceived, like, thing, there's like, this motherfucker, I told you it was no good.
I love that. It's, to me, I really, like, I have a weird dynamic in my brain of like watching, say, a Hollywood star or even someone like Taylor Swift, of like people are obsessed over these people, and it's like in my head I don't know if I have I don't know who has the energy to like pursue that and then like invest the time to be like to hate that, because it takes a certain amount of energy. But at the same time, like I step back and say, well, I guess my obsession's at a different level with these other artists of like I really, really like them. You know, whether it's smaller artists I talk to or friends or, you know, anyone in the industry that I'm familiar with, it's like you either want them to succeed or you want them to fail. And it's a different dynamic, because I always, you know, I bring Katy Perry up. Everyone hated on her with with the whole space flight, and still is. And it's like, there's potentially some validity to that sort of thing, but I never understand the people who are obsessed with these people they'll never meet.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
think,
it's,
again, like I said, it's a numbers game too.
yeah,
I mean, I think, all those people, when you're making that level of like disposable music, have like a
disposable
pretty,
music. That is,
yeah,
yeah,
you have a half-life, you know what I mean? Not everybody can be Michael Jackson.
yeah,
Um, but I will say, I think, I will start to wind down with this and leave you with this in a way. Like, all of us are really fascinated with other humans in a way that I don't think we like are honest enough with ourselves about,
yeah,
right? I have gotten to a place where I can articulate it pretty well, but that's because like I am obsessed with watching people on YouTube do the most normal shit ever. I I watch so many YouTube channels that are just a regular ass dude like making a snack or whatever and talking about his day. When I find stuff like that on YouTube, I'm locked in, man. Like that's my favorite kind of shit to watch ever.
that's
Uh
so cool.
and yeah, like I will spend hours like just watching, yeah, like I said, people just do the most basic fucking things like um
Follow
there
me while I
there was
clean
a
my
channel
house.
that there was a channel I watched for a really long time where it was just an old guy. His name's Tom, and it's just this old dude, and he would just like heat up microwave meals or like TV dinners or whatever, and then he would just like sit and put the camera on himself and just tell like stories from like way back when he like 1934 whenever it was when he was growing up and just
So
talk
wholesome.
about like yeah, how they would go to town and how they would get stuff and all this shit. And it was like, oh, this is just like chilling with someone's grandpa.
Yeah,
Just like I'm just hanging out with grandpa as he's like eating a fucking banquet meal or whatever and
of
just
course,
talking about yeah, like what he used to do back in the day. I don't
man.
know, there's something really like comforting about that. And I am real honest with myself in that like I'm just fascinated with people.
Yeah,
I think there's no more interesting thing in this world to interact with or to observe than other other people just trying to fucking, do shit.
yeah.
But like a lot of that appreciation I think comes from like I lost my dad in 2021
Oh my
and
god.
like I really then start to say to people, I go, oh, dude, you'll never understand how important like moments are with people until they're like memories, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I have like a real honest relationship with myself about why I'm so hyper fascinated with other people.
Hmm.
But I'm really cautious to try to not let that get to the place, like you said, where I'm like, what are you doing? Why'd you go on stage with that dress? Why are you dating this person? I'm like, fucking care.
Right.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Exactly.
yeah. I'll watch people do shit, but that'll be part two. That'll be our next episode where we just talk about horrific, like
Train
mass
wrecks.
tragedy events. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
We'll just open the news today. Yeah. We'll,
That'll be the
yeah.
foundational basis for our death metal project we work on.
Yeah. Fascinations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Love that.
Hell yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
dude.
Well, I'll hit you up. And
Sounds
yeah,
good. We'll be in
play
touch.
some
Thank
video
you.
games.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Man. Take it easy.
Later. Had some really great laughs and phenomenal insights with Steve, so a huge thank you to him for making the time. A bigger thank you for what he does for an entire lineup worth of bands that many people love as well. To push an artist's music with a share on social media or something is one thing, but to manage the campaigns and watch the data pour in behind the scenes is an entirely different animal, which I have mad respect for. Go check out Metal Blade if you're not familiar with them. Then go give Steve a follow. You can find all that info in the description of this video, on the bio on our website, or in the audio description of the show. If you liked what you see, as always, a like, a comment, a follow on your platform of choice helps a ton. There's even a comment section if you're listening on Spotify, and you can sound off how much you enjoy the episode, enjoy the guest, ask some questions we can reach out and have answered for you, and many other cool things. There's even a poll I throw in so you can answer that as well. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Until next time, this is your host, Nick Beardsley, saying stay safe and keep rocking.